Welcome back to AM Northwest. If you're feeling stressed out and overwhelmed, chances are good today's technology has something to do with it. Here to share why we need just to chill, we welcome back motivational speaker George Carroll. Always good to see you.
Good to see you too, Helen.
I know you probably need to chill since you've got two little boys.
Yeah, we just dropped them off at daycare, and so I came here with a little bit of stress. So I had to do a little bit of breathing before I came in.
Calm yourself down. Yeah. But you say one of the things that leads to a lot of us being overwhelmed and stressed out has to do with social media and technology.
Absolutely. So in 2000, the revealing thing we have to look at is in 2000, a study showed that our average attention span was 12 seconds.
That makes sense.
Yeah, nothing to write home about, but they did the study again in 2017, and they found that average attention span was 8 seconds.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so in a very short period of time, we go from 12 seconds to 8 seconds, and there's something that happened in that window in the beginning of
this is what happened.
Exactly, the mobile revolution. So our phones went from being pretty much a device you could text and talk on to now literally a miniature computer that we hold with us all the time.
Well, and you're so easily distracted. My attention span is much shorter now.
I think everybody's is.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about, you have an acronym. You call it CHILL.
I call it CHILL. The thing we have to keep in mind is anytime, especially over the last 15 years, when information is coming at us, if we're not managing it effectively, that information creates overwhelm or information overload, and that leads to overwhelm, and that leads to stress. And stress leads to a lot of things. So what we want to do is, using this acronym, is throughout the course of our day, let's practice some things that help alleviate stress from our minds, from our bodies, so that we can be more present with
Don't you think some of that stress is just subconscious, too? We have no idea why we're feeling a little anxious.
That's a really great point. Maybe for another segment, but yeah, sometimes we're immediately triggered into stress and we don't even know why.
You say cultivate gratitude.
That's the first thing, I think the most important thing. So when you're in a state of gratitude, you can't be stressed and grateful at the same time. You can't be fearful and grateful at the same time. And when you practice and embody a sense of gratitude, and you look around at the people in your life and you're grateful for them and the things that you have, and the clothes you have on your back, because it's easy to look around and say, look, they have this and they have this, and try to keep up with the Joneses, and then all of a sudden we feel a sense of lack in what we're having. But when we look at our lives and say, we have it pretty good, we really do have it pretty good, and we focus on being grateful, we shut off the stress circuits in our brain, the fear circuits in our brain, and we begin to relax.
Because I know a lot of people tend to compare themselves to somebody else's Instagram account and how they live, and you can't do that because you never know what's true, what's not.
Exactly. Yeah, that comparison creates a lot of, especially if people are minimizing themselves.
Right.
It creates a tremendous amount of stress.
Right. You say have meaningful goals.
Have meaningful goals, absolutely. So when we think about, there was a study that was done called the Boeing study, and it wanted to look at what's the average lifespan after somebody retires after the age of 65. And I think I mentioned this last time I was on the show, but that average lifespan is only 18 months. I know it's an eye-opener.
Yeah.
The thing is that people who live much longer are focused on things that are important to them. They learn a new language, they volunteer their time, they start a business, they travel the world, whatever it is, they garden. But the people who don't live long are the ones who just really retire, and they don't do anything to stay stimulated and in growth mode. And so we want to figure out what's important to me, what goals are important to me, because then we minimize the amount of stress and we step into a state of, okay, this is exciting, this is meaningful, this is important to me. So having meaningful goals that we're moving toward is important.
So essentially you're saying stay active after you retire?
Yes,
I mean, mentally and physically.
Create new experiences. So the brain changes with every new experience that we have. And so if we can seek those new experiences, or whether it be, again, volunteering or anything like that, we stay stimulated, we stay in growth mode. Because we're living organisms, we're either growing or deteriorating.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep.
Inhale deeply.
Yeah, this is So I practice this one all the time.
You just did before we went on.
I did. I'll probably do it again before we're done here.
I know I stress you out. I apologize.
So the biggest thing with breathing is that we communicate to the brain with deep breaths in. We communicate relaxation to the brain. Most people are running around throughout the workday or throughout their days, short, fast, shallow breaths.
Right.
And that communicates stress to the brain. And anytime stress is triggered in the brain, even though we're not running from saber-toothed tigers anymore or anything like that, our brain believes that we're in danger. And so by inhaling deeply, just take 5 to 7 deep breaths in over the course of 60 seconds, a couple times throughout the day, and then it communicates to your brain, relax, there is no danger here. And when we're stressed for too long, we compromise our immune system and all of that. And so it's just a great way, an easy way. And one thing that I did was that I set a reminder on my phone every day at 2 p.m., I said, take 5 deep breaths in. And it just reminded me to keep breathing.
I would think it'd be easy to do that in the car because driving is so stressful in Portland.
It absolutely.
Yeah. You say look for the good, which is like cultivating gratitude in a way.
Yeah.
Look for the good.
Look for the good, because we're going to make mistakes in life. People are going to disappoint us in life. Problems are going to show up. Situations are going to happen that we're not happy about.
Right.
But if we can just kind of reframe it and take control of our mind and say, okay, even though I'm not happy about this, what's the positive in this? Because anytime we're blaming or complaining, we're in stress. But when we say, okay, what's the positive in this? You know, what did I do here that was, you know, a positive kind of thing?
Right.
Or the positive in the person, or the positive in the situation. We get out of stress and we're more into the positive state of mind.
I would think too, it's like even if you get a message from someone and it's so easy to misread, it's like you really need to think, let's look at the positive way this could be spun.
Exactly.
As opposed to the negative way it could be spun.
Exactly.
Lower the volume of your smartphone.
Okay, this is my challenge to people who their number one distraction is their cell phone, is to turn off all sounds on your cell phone and turn off the vibration on your cell phone, because most people operate their cell phones kind of like Pavlov's dogs, if you remember that study. So Russian scientist brings dogs in, rings a bell, gives them food, rings a bell, gives the dogs food. Over the course of time, they associate food to the bell, so they start salivating. Well, anytime our phone makes a noise or
we think
vibrates,
there's something interesting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's this whole thing called FOMO, fear of missing out.
Yeah.
That I'm sure pharmaceutical
look at
companies
you, FOMO.
pharmaceutical companies are developing a drug for it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But that's one challenge that I have for people is over the course of the day, just leave your current cell phone settings where they are, and every time your phone makes a noise, every time it vibrates, just make a check. And at the end of the day, see how many different notifications interrupted you. It's pretty revealing. Some people are in the hundreds.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much,
You're
George.
welcome.
This was a
Thanks for
lot of
having
fun. And say hi to the babies.
I will.
All right. Coming up.